What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Baseball Now podcast. I'm your host, Mason Braggins, and today we're taking a look at the trade deadline. Next week is the trade deadline, so we're going to take like a week preview, a week out, and then next week we're going to give. There's probably a lot that's going to happen between this episode and next week. We're not going to recap all the trades next week, though. We'll probably just do like a basic, just recap, and then the week after that is when we'll do our trade deadline recap. But this week, we're going to take a look. We're going to start things off with the top 10 power rankings, and then we'll take a look at some of the top names that are supposedly supposed to get traded before August 3rd. So let's kick things off with our power rankings for this week. I think in the number, it's hard. It's definitely harder this week to decide who gets in the top 10, who doesn't get in the top 10, because a lot of stuff happened between last week and this week. I mean, if we take a look at last week's top 10, we had the Red Sox in 10th place, then the Cardinals, the White Sox, the Phillies, the Yankees, the Rays, the Cubs, the Braves, Brewers, and Dodgers. That's from 10 to 1. This week, it's obviously we're gonna have some of the same teams up in here, but I think it's definitely harder to take a look at which teams definitely deserve to be up there because a lot of teams kind of crawling back to hopefully get a top 10 spot. I mean, you got teams like the Nationals, the Pirates, the Rangers maybe making a name for themselves, but you have a lot of names that we've seen previously. Like the Cardinals, I don't think I'm going to have in the top 10 this week. They had a tough losing streak, and now they're back quite a few games from some other teams that I would put in this list right now. We had the Mariners and Marlins at one time. I think it's definitely difficult to rank. I don't think any team that's below 500 is obviously going to get in, or any team that's at 500 is going to get in. It's definitely hard to take a look and just decide who's number 10. I can start from the top and go to the bottom, but we're going to start from the bottom. I think, man, I don't know. I think at the 10 spot, I'm going to go to the Nationals. I think I'm going to go to the Nationals at the 10 spot. Maybe. Yeah, we're going to go. Well, no. No, we're not going to do it. We're going to go Diamondbacks in the number 10 spot, which is crazy. We haven't seen them in the top 10 all season long. They had a really good series against the Dodgers. They swept the Dodgers before the All-Star break, and they've just been kind of hot since coming back from the break. Now, yes, they are in a 2-game losing streak to the Nationals, actually, in Washington. Sorry, in DC. um, But the whole team is pretty solid. They're not outstanding by any means. They have a team batting average of 242, and then 314, 395 OBP and slugging. But they're getting it done. It looks like you take a look at their run differential. They're -3, but they're second place in the NL West right now because of that. And their pitching isn't anything remarkable either, outside of I guess Eduardo Rodriguez, who is a 2.64 ERA with 86 strikeouts through 122 innings. He's doing some great work on the starting side. Not too many incredible relief pitchers. You have Paul Sewald, who is clearly their closer guy. He's got 24 saves on the season, but has a 4.58 ERA. You got a couple other guys. You take a look like Holds. You got Taylor Clark and Juan Murillo, who both have 12. Who both have underneath 3 ERAs, so that's really good. But overall, I don't think this team is anything remarkable, which is kind of surprising. They got a lot of guys on the IL right now. In fact, a lot of pitchers. They're looking a whole lot like the Dodgers right now with how many pitchers they have on the IL, including Zach Gallen, who hit the IL. I think last week with an elbow problem. Not entirely sure what that issue is. It could be loose bodies, or it could just be some general pain he's dealing with. I'm not entirely sure, but again, this team isn't anything too remarkable. But they're 55 and 51, above 500. That gives them a winning percentage of 519. So they're still looking. They're looking to get hot. That's why they're in the number 10 spot this week. But outside of that, I don't think there's anything too remarkable about this team. And our 9 spot are the Red Sox, who actually have the same winning percentage as the Diamondbacks, but have played 2 less games, 54 and 50. So still 12 games out of first place overall. Across the league, they have a plus 46 run differential 8-2. And actually, hold on, we're gonna bump these guys up into the 8 spot. Well, I'll finish talking about them and go back to the 9 spot. Red Sox in the 8 spot. I mean, just because they're again 8-2 across their last 10. After that ridiculous tying their franchise record of 15 straight wins. Well, like you scroll through their schedule and you're just like, oh yeah, like some wins, loss, and then you just see 15 straight W's. 15 straight, which is ridiculous. And unfortunately, I think it would have been really cool if they had swept the Orioles, beat their record, but unfortunately kind of got blown out. It wasn't a crazy blowout, but it still was it was still a tough loss for the team. And then taking the series against the Blue Jays at home um, this past weekend. But I mean, this team, we talked about them last week. We'll talk about it again here. So something just clicked. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was Wilson Contreras getting in the home run derby. Um, might have been that. I mean, he leads the team in a lot of stats right now. He leads in batting average, home runs, RBIs, OBP. The only thing he doesn't lead is hits. That belongs to Ceddanne Rafaela, who is also batting very well. Rafaela batting 279, 321, 438. Incredible. Wilyer Abreu also batting very well, 253, 325, 440. Very good bat as well. And then again, Contreras, 288, 388, 547. Incredible slash line from the other Contreras brother. And those are the three guys that have really been powering this offense recently. But I mean, we also have seen Masataka Yoshida, one of their DHs. He's starting to come alive. He has 206 plate appearances this season, 257, 336, 379. That's also really good. Just kind of like all together, this team is kind of just coming to life, it seems. Everybody really finding their place all together. I'm not really. I can't really point out like one thing that is really making this team better because they got a lot of guys on the IL. I mean, you've had two guys since the start of July on the IL. Roman Anthony has been on the IL for a very long time. Something up with his finger. We don't really know what's going on. We haven't heard anything since before the All-Star break about his status. You have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa on the IL, Trevor Story on the IL, Zach Kelly, Garrett Crochet on the IL as well, and then Marcelo Mayer. So you got a lot of guys coming in who, probably wouldn't get a lot of playing time. Maybe that's part of it, is these injuries are bringing to life a lot of issues that they have with some other players, and there are just a lot of guys who are stepping up, making a name for themselves right now. That might be what it is. But, so I don't know, something about their offense starting to click. I mean, you got Sonny Gray, who's a masterclass this season in pitching. Incredible. Same thing with Ranger Suarez. He's having himself a fantastic season despite the higher ERA. And then Aroldis Chapman, 24 saves. He has been doing fantastic work on the back end of innings, getting the saves locked down. Just incredible stuff. And I mean, he's only had 3 losses on this season, which I don't think is terrible for your closer. If you got more than that for a closer, I want to look into getting a different guy to close the game. But Aroldis Chapman only has 3 years, 24 saves. I don't know how many blown saves he has. I don't know exactly where that stat would be, but still great work from Aroldis Chapman. And I guess the entire Boston Red Sox, who were sitting cleanly in the 8 spot this week. Jumping back down to the 9 spot is going to be the White Sox. They're down a couple places, or actually just down 1 spot from last week. Mainly because of the fact they do have a higher winning percentage than the Red Sox, but they are 6-4 across their last 10, whereas the Red Sox are 8-2. But I mean, this White Sox team still, we talk about them. We've been talking about them for a lot of weeks. Just absolutely incredible. And they got Munetaka Murakami back, who is still doing fantastic work. Has hit 2 home runs since coming back from the All-Star break. So maybe getting his power back. I think Murakami, there's still definitely signs of him recovering from the injury he had, but I don't think he shows any signs of slowing down. He's still one of their best batters, along with Miguel Vargas, Chase Meadroth, Colson Montgomery, Sam Anatasi, Benintendi as well, Tristan Peters. Like, the whole offense is ridiculous, to be frank. Just everybody doing their part to make sure that this team is staying alive, is fighting very hard, and it's really just the offense, because we take a look at their pitching, and not a lot of starting pitchers have fantastic ERAs. I mean, you got Sean Burke, who's got the best at 3.19 right now through 118 innings with 130 strikeouts. So, I mean, you take a look at the innings pitch, that's a K9 ratio of almost 10, which is ridiculous. But, I mean, you take a look at those earned runs. He's given up 42 earned runs, that's kind of tough. That's hard. Giving up 97 hits as well. And their bullpen isn't anything remarkable. You got a couple guys. I mean, you look at Sir Anthony Dominguez, who's got the most saves on the team, got a 4.33 ERA. Most holds goes to Sean Newcomb, who actually has the best ERA in the bullpen of 2.38 right now. And a couple of the guys that they use quite often. You got Brian Hudson, who's played in 45 games, at 286. Grant Taylor in 39 games, 258. You got Jordan Hicks and Brian Esert, 338, 593. So, I mean, like, it's not anything remarkable. And you take a look at the injuries, the team has quite a few guys on the IL, including Colson Montgomery, who is injured right now. You got Kyle Teal, who's been, their best catcher over the past couple weeks. He is on the IL, unfortunately. And he was batting pretty solid, so they've used a couple catchers around him since then. Got quite a few pitchers on the IL as well. But then they also have two of their outfielders, Everson Pereira and Austin Hayes, on the IL. They both already had rehab assignments, so maybe coming back to the lineup soon. But the guys who are taking their place in right field and left field have been doing pretty solid work. Braden Montgomery, 246, 318, 399. He's been playing right field as of late. And then you also have, Hayes, who I want to say is the backup left fielder behind Anatasi. Anatasi is just incredible. 283, 376, 416. Incredible work. Just this whole team is putting in the work, to say the least. And I don't really have anything else to say about it. They're doing fantastic work. In our 7th spot, going to be the Phillies, who have a minus 11 run differential, 4-6 across their last 10. Let's take a look. I think it was a rough stretch, because at home, they played the Mets, then the Dodgers, and the Yankees. Now, sure, we know the Mets are one of the worst teams in baseball right now, but they lost that series to the Mets, lost the series to the Dodgers, and lost the series to the Yankees. So, just a really, really bad stretch of games for them. And they haven't really been that great since the All-Star break. They've been kind of like 500-ish. They are second in the NL East, but we've been talking about them every week. It looks like the team batting average is slowly dropping. It's at 236 right now for the whole team. Also, shout out to Brian De La Cruz in 7 at-bats, has a 714 batting average. Kind of crazy. Not every day you get to see that. But yeah, just the whole team kind of seems to be struggling altogether. And if you watch the Phillies-Dodgers series, apparently our base running IQ just disappeared. I'm a Dodgers fan, so I loved it. But 2 games in a row, they made base running errors, which is something that is not common for Philadelphia to do, I would think. Now, sure, you still got Kyle Schwarber leading the charge at 33 home runs and 62 RBIs, batting 252, 365, 549. That slugging percentage, ridiculous. You got Bryce Harper in there, batting 251, 357, 484. Brandon Marsh, 287, 328, 469, who did a lot of damage. He's just a really good contact ball hitter, getting on base, getting RBIs in. Now he doesn't have as many RBIs as Schwarber has, and I think that's mainly because of the long ball. But Brandon Marsh has, we take a look at his doubles count. 15 of them, a lot of them have driven in runs. A lot of his just singles have driven in runs as well. He has 106 hits. That's the most on the team. I think that's really what's bringing up that RBI count, is just a lot of really good hits. Their pitching is really solid too. You got Christopher Sanchez, their best starting pitcher, 157 strikeouts, 273 ERA on the season. Zach Wheeler doing great as well, 117 strikeouts, 216 ERA. You know, Johan Duran, most saves on the team, 129 ERA. Just the whole team itself, I think, really, they're okay. They kind of just seem to be falling apart, it seems like, kind of slowly at times. Like, yes, they're still mostly together, but it definitely feels like a roller coaster for the Phillies. Got like a bad stretch, up stretch, down stretch, so on and so forth. It doesn't seem like they're too consistent, or like they're not dominant in one way. They're kind of just like okay at everything. It's keeping them in games, but again, they have that minus 11 run differential, which If that keeps going down, not positive signs for this team. They might end up dropping out of the top 10 at some point. But for now, they still hold our 7th spot in the top 10. It's 2 straight weeks at the 7th spot for this team. And then we go back and we'll take a look. Our 6th spot is going to belong to the Cubs, dropping down from last week a couple of spots here. 59, 46, plus 76 run official, 6-4 across their last 10 here. I mean, they're still a really good team. I mean, you got PCA 290, 388, 545. Ridiculous stuff. And he's got the most home runs on the team at 23. You got Dansby Swanson as well. Now, he doesn't have that batting average, but he definitely has a lot of RBIs. I mean, I don't know. Somehow, he has the most RBIs on the team, despite the fact that PCA has more home runs and more hits. Now, he only's got it by 1. I think that just means his hits have come when people are on base and they've scored people who are on base more frequently than not. Batting 220, 299, 413. Not amazing, but I mean, most of this team is, Nico Horner, pretty solid too, 247, 312, 337. Seiya Suzuki, 265, 354, 473. So pretty solid there as well. But a couple of the guys just batted a little bit lower than I think some people like to see them, but still overall really good. And I mean, we can't talk about PCA without his incredible D-WAR, 1.6 D-WAR, and then his normal WAR is 6.5. Like, this guy, he's insane. He's ridiculous. I don't know how he does it. You got Shota Imanaga, who I think is having a rough season right now, but somehow all the pitching staff just seems to be, because he has the team best starting pitcher ERA at 372, which is not amazing. Yes, he does have 113 strikeouts, so pretty solid there. You got Ben Brown in the bullpen, though, in 20 games, a 1.85 ERA, so pretty solid there. Jacob Webb through 45 games, 284. Ryan Rollison, sorry, I said that wrong. Ryan Rollison through 36 games, 270 ERA. They use a lot of different guys, it seems, to close out games and hold games, so they don't really have a designated closer. The bullpen kind of just doing everything all at once, just everybody a part of it. Seems to be a good team effort here from the Cubs. But, I mean, you got a lot of guys. Lots of just pitchers who are on the IL right now, which is unfortunate. Like, a lot of pitchers on the IL. It's ridiculous how many guys. I'm looking at this injured list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pitchers on the IL right now. But still really good, and they're taking our 6th spot for this week. Number 5 is going to go to the Yankees. Also 59 and 46, 6-4 across the last 10, but have a better run differential than the Cubs. It's the main reason why they're above them. Haven't been amazing since the All-Star break, but still doing okay. They are still second behind the Rays. And again, I think I talked about this last week. It kind of just seems like the whole team is kind of just losing it altogether. I mean, like, a few weeks ago, Ben Rice had almost a 300 batting average. Now he's at a 273 batting average, 360 OBP, and 586 slugging. So still an incredible slugging percentage, but just he's kind of lost it. Got the most home runs on the team, though, at 31. Ben Rice has been seemingly, just going for the long ball more than actually just putting the ball in play. I think that's why his batting average has dropped significantly. But Bellinger's still up there as well, 259, 350, 420. Jose Caballero at 238, 228, 376. Not amazing, but not terrible either. Aaron Judge, unfortunately, still on the IL for this team. They're really hoping that he comes back soon. Cody Bellinger just hit the IL as well. Stanton still on the IL, but he doesn't have a timeline to resume baseball activities. Same thing with Aaron Judge with that rib injury that he's been out with since, I think, the end of June is how long he's been out with it. So almost pretty much a whole month at this point. Not ready to resume baseball activities either. Bellinger will probably be out for a long time because he has a strained hamstring. Unfortunate, so we probably won't see him for a while. I think with Aaron Judge still being out and Cody Bellinger also hitting the aisle, this team is going to tank significantly, especially with the Red Sox hot on their heels. They are just a couple games behind the Yankees. I mean, if we take a look at their division, Red Sox are 7.5 outside of first place. Yankees are 3 outside of first place, which means that the Red Sox are 4.5 games behind the Yankees. That could easily happen with Bellinger hitting the IL. You still don't have Judge. You don't have Stanton. And the Red Sox looking as hard as they are, they might take that second spot and the Yankees might drop to third. I think that's a very probable thing that could happen because, I don't know, I'm just like, they kind of brought it together. Really, what has been their saving grace has been Cam Schlittler, who is ridiculous this season. Max Fried just came back from the IL and had himself a pretty solid start. And still, despite the fact that he was out for quite a long time after his most recent start, holds a 2.97 ERA. That's pretty solid. The bullpen is pretty good too. I mean, the guy with the most saves, David Bednar, he's got 20 of them, a 2.42 ERA. You got Fernando Cruz with the most holds on the team at 16, 2.51 ERA. So I think it's definitely the pitching staff that's kind of been holding the games together if the game doesn't get out of hand immediately. But unfortunately, I don't know how much longer the Yankees are going to stay afloat. I think they could start sinking very soon. And then the Braves are going to take our 4 spot here. 7-3 across the last 10 with a 107 run differential right now. Win streak of 1. I mean, this team definitely falling back quite a bit. But they do have Ronald Acuna Jr. coming back soon. We talk about them every week because they're one of the best teams in baseball right now. Michael Harris, 298, 326, 504. Ridiculous batting stuff. Ozzy Albies right now, 260, 310, 434. You got Matt Olson, 266, 343, 527. Mauricio Dubon, 262, 313, 406. And Drake Baldwin, 277, 371, 484. Pretty solid as well. On the batting end. Pitching, you still got Chris Sale, who, this guy's nuts. I don't know how he does it. 2.19 ERA, a 105 whip with 134 strikeouts. Ridiculous. Ridiculous stuff. And then we talk about the save team, every once in a while. But Rafael Iglesias and Robert Suarez. Iglesias definitely getting up some more runs over the past couple appearances. 2.43 ERA. But Robert Suarez still has a 0.56 ERA as a closer. Ridiculous stuff. I mean, it's just insane. The pitching staff is pretty solid. I mean, you got quite a few. I mean, most of the pitching staff giving up a lot of runs. But overall, keeping them in games. And again, that 107 run differential, definitely a good sign that their offense is still alive, still fighting. Not too shabby. I think if you're a Braves fan, you should not be disappointed with how your team has been playing. And our 3 spot is going to be the Rays, who, yes, I know they're 6-4 across their last 10. They have the same record as the Braves. They have a lower run differential at 42, but they are currently on a 3-game win streak, which I think is pretty telltale that they're doing, at least currently, better than the Braves. They just swept the Guardians after almost sweeping the Blue Jays in a 4-game series. But I mean, this team's insane. Junior Caminero, dude, 283, 372, 543. Ridiculous. Yandy Diaz, 303, 378, 461. Jonathan Aranda, 282, 377, 438. Chandler Simpson, 296, 329, 359. By the way, Chandler Simpson is batting that well without a single home run this season, and he has 20 RBIs. Maybe call him a selfish batter, perhaps. I don't know, but that slash line speaks for itself. It's pretty solid. And I mean, yeah, just incredible stuff from those 4 guys really driving this offense to be the best that it can be. And I mean, you got Nick Fortes, their catcher, 281, 321, 390. Really solid stuff as well. On the pitching end, Nick Martinez, 245 with how many strikeouts? I'm losing the number. 67. Kind of crazy that through 117 innings, he only has 67 strikeouts with a 2.45 ERA. I think that just means he's a really good ground ball pitcher or like pop fly pitcher. That doesn't mean, like the fact he doesn't have 67 strikeouts, that just means the defense is doing their job to help him out. But Drew Rasmussen, he's got a 3.7 ERA with 112 strikeouts. Very good as well. Brian Baker, the save king for their team, he's got 28 of them, a 1.56 ERA. Kevin Kelly, the hold guy, he's got 20 of them, 2.27 ERA. And then right behind him is Garrett Cleavinger with 18 holds, who has a 3.48 ERA. Not too shabby. I mean, they got their closer who's doing their work, and their starter's doing pretty solid. I think it's definitely just the offense that just know how to stay in games when it matters most. I mean, outside of when the Red Sox were going crazy when they got swept by them. But outside of that, really solid hitting from this team again, first in the AL East. In second place, going to be the Brewers, still a game back, or I guess technically a half game back from the Dodgers. As a Dodgers fan, a little scary that the Dodgers will no longer be leading. You know, if they keep losing some close games that they shouldn't really be losing. But Brewers 7-3 across their last 10, 142 run differential. Again, half game back from the Dodgers. Yesterday's game against the Rockies, I mean, the Miz was nuts, as always. I mean, Jacob Mizorowski hitting another milestone with the fastest pitch ever in Major League Baseball history, 111.9 miles per hour. It's a new MLB record. I don't even know. How do you throw that fast? That's ridiculous. I mean, unfortunately, it was definitely just a game for the Rockies where they didn't have the right guy on the mound. Kyle Freeland pitching, who is 2-10 this season. We take a look at his current ERA this season. It's at 7.34. So unfortunately, I mean, really, this is a different topic for a different game. But I mean, the Rockies need to spend money. They need to go out and get some pitchers. They need to get some stuff so that they can be better because the current pitching staff for the Rockies is abysmal. This is why teams like the Brewers can just absolutely pound them because their pitching isn't good. I mean, if we take a look at the last time the Brewers faced the Rockies, which Mizorowski pitched as well, they were in Colorado for that one though. I mean, I think that was sometime before the All-Star break. Let me take a look. But I mean, when they faced the Rockies last, again, in Colorado, that game against Mizorowski, 7-1 was the final score. They swept the Rockies. Now, didn't sweep the Rockies this time. Rockies did take the first game. But again, the Brewers, I mean, just they're a ridiculous team. The Miz, as always, this guy, he's nuts. He's ridiculous. I don't know how he does it. 158 ERA with 185 strikeouts. Ridiculous. And then you got Kyle Harrison, not too shabby either. He's got 101 strikeouts with a 301 ERA, so pretty solid there. And their bullpen's pretty solid too. Trevor McGill, who's got the most saves at 17 at 297 ERA. Abner Uribe, who's got the most holds at 15, a 238 ERA, not too shabby either. And I mean, their batting is still just incredible. Bryce Turing, 267, 362, 464. William Contreras, 273, 337, 393. Jake Bowers, 263, 369, 486, 6. Sorry. Garrett Mitchell, 272, 361, 446. Jackson Chorio, 277, 334, 473. Great stuff from all of those guys. Batting very well this season. And again, we just talked about the pitching. And they're not too injury-ridden. I mean, I think they got a couple guys who have been inconsequential for most of the season on the IL. But other than that, again, one of the best teams in baseball. Would not be surprised if they take the first spot overall across the majors. But as of right now, that spot does belong to the Dodgers at our number one spot in team power rankings. They have 67 wins currently. I mean, just great stuff. Unfortunately, tough loss yesterday against the Mets, but they are playing very good baseball, to say the very least. They have been for most of the season. Unfortunately, though, Shohei Ohtani has seemed to lost it. I don't know what I think he has a knee injury, and that's kept him out of pitching. So if you're a Shohei Ohtani fan or a Dodgers fan, like me, I don't think Shohei is going to pitch the rest of the season with this knee injury. Unfortunately, because he has been, obviously he doesn't qualify for stuff, but he's been one of the best pitchers this season. Through 85 innings with 95 strikeouts, he has a 179 ERA and a .95 whip. That's some of the best stats in the majors. Again, doesn't qualify because he hasn't pitched enough innings to qualify for that. But when he does pitch, he does great work. But I mean, you got Yamamoto and Robleski, who are also doing fantastic work. Yamamoto with 118 strikeouts, a 272 ERA, and a .9 whip. You got Robleski with 80 strikeouts, a 101 whip, and a 262 ERA. Fantastic stuff. Tanner Scott, who has just, I don't know, he woke up this season. He's got 16 saves and a 232 ERA, point 8 whip. Ridiculous stuff from him. You got Alex Vesey, who's got the most holds for the team, a 255 ERA, 119 whip. Most of the bullpen is pretty solid, does their part. You got Edgardo Henriquez, a 281 ERA. Jack Dreyer, 324, not as amazing. Will Klein, 357, still okay. Blake Trinan, 352. I think he needs to get. I think he needs to hit the bullpen. Do some more work on his stuff. It's not the greatest right now. Brock Stewart, 203. He scares me when he comes into pitch, but hey man, he's getting it done. He's getting it done. I can't be mad at him if he's doing it done. You want to know who needs to be off the team, though, is Evan Phillips. I know he came back. People were hyped for him because he was our closer for many seasons before he had Tommy John's surgery. He's been dog water in every single one of his appearances this season. He has 2 losses because of it in his 7 appearances. The 6 innings that he's pitched, he's given up 5 runs in 6 innings, 6.2 innings, which is ridiculous. Like, get him off my baseball team. Get him off my baseball team. Unfortunately, but, you know. Edwin Diaz slated to come back this week. I think Wednesday, and Kike Hernandez comes back tomorrow for the Dodgers. So, very promising. You've got Blake Snell making another rehab start on Wednesday. Hopefully, Blake Snell to come back and do very good. Glasnow facing live hitters. I think he faced live hitters last week, so maybe we'll get him back the next few weeks. Unfortunately, you still have Will Smith on the IL. I mean, it's just brutal that he's on the IL right now with that neck injury. But it's just like, I don't know. We thought he was coming back, but the neck is still bothering him. Not really sure what it is. But, I mean, Dalton Rushing has been doing pretty solid behind the dish and at the dish. 246, 333, 463 slash line for Rushing through 203 plate appearances, so not too shabby. You got Hernandez after his short stint on the IL, 251, 323, 390. Mookie Betts starting to, oh my gosh, I say his name too fast and pronounce it wrong. Mookie Betts starting to wake up a little bit. 229, 291, 410, so still needing some time to wake up, but he's getting there. You got Muncy, 256, 351, 500. Kyle Tucker hit home runs in back-to-back games, so maybe he's finally waking up. 239, 334, 376. Not the worst thing ever, but not amazing either. But maybe he'll start getting there, slowly waking up, hopefully. He does have, he's in the top 5 for RBI on the team, which is pretty solid. You got Ohtani, you got the most home runs at 22, 282, 387, 520, slash slide. Freddie Freeman getting that batting average above 300, 301, 381, 491. And then Andy Pah has 263, 332, 454. So just great stuff from the entire team. Absolutely. That's why they're the best team in baseball. But now, let's talk about trade rumors, the most likely trade candidates. I mean, Tarik Skubal. I hate that he's a trade candidate because I think if the Tigers trade him away, the Tigers are not seeing the playoffs for like another decade. Yeah, they were in them last season, but they suck this season. And unfortunately, the front office is looking at like, okay, we got to get rid of someone. We got to get some money. And unfortunately, I think that comes at the cost of Tarik Skubal, which, you know, I hate to say it, unfortunately, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Unfortunately, there are a lot of teams that could easily pick him up, like without a doubt. You know, I think any of the top 5 teams, or maybe any team in the top 10, could very realistically trade for Tarik Skubal, but I think he needs to go to a team that's not a contending team. I think you need a guy as dominant as he is to play for a team that just needs it. You know, maybe they're barely out of contention. Maybe they need just that little boost to their pitching staff to make them a contending team. You know, I'm thinking of teams like the Marlins, maybe, or the Nationals, or the Rangers, if you want to keep them in the AL. The White Sox even keep him in the same division. That'd be funny if the White Sox traded for him because that would just make them even better, even though they're already in first place in their division. I would hate to see him go to any of the AL East teams, just as a baseball fan. I think if the smaller market team he goes to, the better, to say the least. Obviously, I think seeing him on a team like the Rockies or the Angels or the Athletics, I think would be awesome. Just because they need that power, they need the prowess. But I just don't think him being there. It's Paul Skeens syndrome. Paul Skeens is stuck in Pittsburgh. They're not a playoff team, despite the fact they have one of the best pitchers. Now he hasn't been the best pitcher this season. I think he changed something between last season and this season with how he's throwing the ball, and unfortunately, it's costing him runs. But Tarek Skubal, again, so bizarre that he's the number one trade candidate, but he's right there, um, which is kind of crazy. I mean, you've got if we take a look at ESPN's top 10 trade candidates, again, Skubal at the top of the list. You got Byron Buxton of the Twins, who is batting excellently this season, to say the very least. I mean, let's take a look at his stats. Let me find the Twins real quick. Byron Buxton, there we go. He is batting 264, 322, 547 with a 3 WAR. He's got 25 home runs, 45 RBIs. When we take a look at his fielding and center field, he's a really good center fielder. I mean, I think that's part of his value. His fielding percentage is 1,000, so pretty good there. To say the least, he hasn't missed a chance. He has 0 errors on the season, which is pretty good. His range factor a 298. I think that's good. Is that good? How how to measure range factor? I've never actually looked at that stat. I think I think that's okay. I think that's a good one. He's had Yeah, he's a 168 for 168 on his total chances, and then all of his putouts. 168 of 168 for those. Great stuff. And then, but strange though, he has 0 outfield assists. I think, which is strange. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I think that just means when he makes a play, it doesn't come at trying to throw a runner out at home or trying to get a guy out who's tagging up going to second or third. I think that probably just means that he's catching the ball in the air and that's the final out, or there's no one on base when that happens. But Byron Buxton, he's a solid bat. He's a great defender. No surprise that he's a trade candidate. However, he was traded in this offseason, or in the middle of last season, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I could just be totally wrong and I could just be stupid. No, I'm just stupid actually. He's been with the Twins for I guess 11 seasons. Um, I think definitely maybe I don't want to say in his prime per se, maybe towards the tail end of his prime, but still very good stuff. I mean, his 2021 season was ridiculous. He batted 306, 358, 647 with an OPS of 1005, which is I don't know. That sounds pretty good to me. If you I don't know. And then his WAR was 4.5 that season. So I mean, he's a really great hitter. No surprise that he is a trade candidate this season. But then you also got from the Twins, you got Joe Ryan, their pitcher, as a good trade candidate. Which I don't even Sure, he's okay. He's got a 3.38 ERA and a 1.10 WHIP with what 131 strikeouts this season. So pretty solid from the righty. But I don't know what offers team. I don't know what team could benefit from him. I mean, if he stays that good, wherever he goes, I think there are a lot of teams that could benefit from him. Again, while they're losing teams, I'm thinking like Rockies, Angels, Athletics. Those 3 teams. I think could really use him, maybe even like the Giants or something. Um, but I just don't know what other teams have to offer for a pretty solid trade candidate, I would say. He's not he's a okay pitcher. I mean, we take a look at um his career. He's been with the Twins his whole career. He has a career ERA of 3.73. He's gotten better as his career has gone on, but he's not the most flashy um pitcher by far. So, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see if he does go up, on the market before August 3rd or on August 3rd. I think that's very real. I think there are a lot of names on here that I don't know. It just like kind of surprised me. It's like, why would this guy be considered a trade candidate? Like Mason Miller. The Padres just got this guy and he's been incredible. I mean, if you keep up with baseball at all, I don't need to talk about this guy in the slightest. This guy is ridiculous. I mean, but I'm going to do it anyways in case you don't know. Mason Miller played for the Athletics for most of his career. He was picked up by San Diego this offseason. He it's insane. Sorry, last season. 239 sorry, 0.82 ERA and a .82 whip. 0.82 whip with 80 strikeouts through 43 innings this season. 80 strikeouts for a closer. What the heck? That's like some numbers that some starting pitchers have this season. This guy is a relief pitcher. He has pitched in only 43 innings, and he's one of the best relief pitchers in the game. Like, by far. And his first season, man, dude, I'm speechless. His first season with the Padres, .77 ERA, .73 whip through 23 innings, 45 strikeouts. Crazy. He is nearly doubled his strikeout count from last season and not even double the amount of innings. Crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy stuff. Like, I just can't. I think it would be silly for the Padres to trade this guy. Like, without a doubt. Because I think the Padres, yes, they're 500. Mason Miller, sure, he's a good trade candidate because he can pick up bats, but I mean, just like you got some solid guys offensively, who are just so happen to are not having great seasons right now. But I don't think you need to trade away the star closer that you just picked up. You know what I mean? Like he's so good. I think getting rid of him is a silly decision for the Padres. Um, just like how I think getting rid of Shea Langoliers, the Athletics, getting rid of him would be silly. He's their best player. He was an all-star this season. The Athletics need a guy like him on their team. I think getting rid of him is silly. Now, yes, the struggle absolutely is their pitching. Like absolutely the struggle is pitching. The team ERA is 5.35. None of their starting pitchers have good ERAs. But like to get rid of a guy like Shea Langoliers, who is batting 263, 332, 497, 829 OPS. He has 23 home runs, 51 RBIs this season. To get rid of him would be silly. He's one of their best batters behind like Kurtz. I think Kurtz is their best batter. Shea Langoliers is the second best guy. Yeah, I mean, just simply to get rid of him would be silly, to say the least. Um, Zach Neto of the Angels, sure, he's a pretty solid trade candidate. He plays shortstop for the team. I think again, you know, he's not even that great this season. It just so happens that the rest of the team is kind of eh. He's also just eh. 234, 323, 441 with a 2.7 WAR. 19 homers, 46 RBIs. Like it's nothing to cry home about for Zach Neto. Like not in the slightest. Um so I think it's interesting that he is a trade candidate because I don't think he has a lot of value for a lot of teams. I think a lot of teams have better shortstops than this guy. I don't know. I mean, like I can namely think of a few. I mean, like the Rockies, Ezekiel Tovar is just not the answer anymore. Anthony Volpe of the Yankees. In fact, probably the entire infield needs to be reworked for the Yankees outside of Ben Rice. But I digress. I mean, sure, he's an option, but I mean, you also got guys like C.J. Abrams, he also plays shortstop, who's the better shortstop by far, who is going to get more calls than the Angels are going to get calls for Zach Neto, like without a doubt. Like I just don't think, I don't think it's a serious offer, to give him up. I mean, you have Jeremy Pena of the um, Astros, who is also a much better shortstop offensively. 319, 373, 504 slash line for Jeremy Pena. And he's a 2.8 war. Now, he's not like a big power hitter, but, you know, he has 72 hits, pretty solid. Total bases 114. Take a look at his fielding. Up 97.2 fielding percentage, so not terrible. He has made 5 errors this season. Range factor 3.35. I think that's pretty good, but I mean, he's pretty solid. Like if I'm a club manager, I need a shortstop. I'm looking at C.J. Abrams or Jeremy Pena, without a doubt. I'm not looking at Zach Neto. Like the fact he's on this list for ESPN's top 10 trade candidates, bonkers. um, yeah, I don't know. I think there are just a lot of guys looking at this top 10 list. I'm like, why? Why is this guy a trade candidate? He should not be a trade candidate. Sure, people might call and ask, but I think if you're the team who owns this player, you shouldn't trade him. Hunter Goodman of the Rockies, you don't get rid of that guy. He is the Rockies have done this a lot. They got a lot of young guys. They aren't playing the best, or maybe they're having a really good season, and people are looking at, it's like, oh, I want that guy on my team. Hunter Goodman is that guy this season. Don't trade him. He's their best player by far. He is fantastic. Like, he's an all-star for a reason. He should have been in the home run derby this season, but different conversation. All I'm saying is I think trading Hunter Goodman would be silly. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And same thing with the Giants getting rid of Luis Arias. He's not a power hitter. He's an okay fielder. He's a really good contact hitter, though. That's why, sure, I think that's why he's on this list. But I disagree. Yeah. But, I think, I think, I don't even know what I think, if I'm going to be honest. There are a lot of guys who are definitely on the chopping block. Um, there are a lot of guys who could be traded. You got like Freddie Peralta of the Mets and also Clay Holmes as well, who I think also plays on the Mets. Like those two guys, I think just is not amazing. It's like sure, there are a lot of offers that could be put up for the on the trade deadline. I don't even know like where I'm going with this, but it's just yeah, I don't know. Like ESPN's list I think is really funny because they got like chance of being traded, rest of season impact, and then years of control. Like they got Tarek School, rest of season impact, game changing. Same thing with Byron Buxton, which I think is hilarious. You got a lot of guys with high rest of season impact. Yeah, I think it's just like I don't know. There are some guys that it's they could be traded, they could not be traded. I think really I don't know, it's kind of silly looking at this. It's like like Wilson Contreras, of the Red Sox has a high trade factor when this is his first season with the Red Sox and he's doing ridiculous. Like why would they trade him? He's an incredible batter. Um I don't know, man. I think it's funny. I think there are definitely a lot of guys that could get traded. We've already seen some trades that are happening, not like crazy blockbuster trades, but a lot of trades that have happened. But what remains to be seen until next week. See, we're all in. So that is going to do it for this week's episode of Baseball Now. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share all those great things. Helps out a lot. If you are interested in helping out run our social media pages, please, please, please reach out. Baseball Now Podcast on Instagram, Baseball Now Cast on X. You can reach out, shoot me a DM over there, and send me some portfolios, I guess not, and I will look into look into what you could bring to our team. But that is it for me today. So again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys all next week. Peace out.